Well, hello. I hope everybody's doing well. It is Sunday night and I'm just not getting your lesson to you. But this week we're going to be talking about an upside down world. We'll be looking at 1 Samuel 2 verses 4 through 8, the first part of 8, so through 8a. And the question I want to ask you is, do you feel like God's ways are upside down compared to the ways of the world? I often feel that way. The things that God says, the first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. That's not what the world thinks. Everybody strives to be first. Nobody strives to be last. And when we look at verses 4 through 8a, we're still looking at Hannah and her prayer to God. And she gets to this place now where verses 4 through 8a read, "The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumble are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who are hungry no more. She who is barren has bore 7 children, but she who has had many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes life. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the heap ash. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor." So just think about that. All those things that here the strong, God breaks their bows, put their strength in, God just removes it from them. We see that the ones who are weak, the ones who are stumbling, God, He gives them strength. Just the opposite of what we think. The weak, we think they're weak, but it says God gives them strength. And it says those people who had everything, now they're in need. And those people who didn't have, God has provided. So things are in God's control. Everything is in His control. God is sovereign. And that doesn't mean that we sit back and do nothing, because everything is in God's control. But it does mean that we do nothing apart from God. We see that, Hannah is acknowledging that, part of it is about herself. She didn't have anything. She couldn't have kids. She was barren. But then God allowed her to have Samuel. And then even after Samuel, she had more kids. So we see that looking at God is in control, but then that the world thinks upside down compared to how God thinks. So the question is, how do we think? Do we think like the world, or do we think like God? Do we see God's thinking is upside down, and because we see it that way, then we want to operate as the world does? Or do we see it as upside down, but we still want to operate out of it because it's what God is calling us to do? And when we think about, even Jesus came into the world. He is Jesus. Everything was made through Him. And yet He walked away. He stepped away from all of that to be a human. And not just to be a human, but a human who came to die. And a human who died a very brutal and just the death of a sinner. But yet, God raised Him above all. Again, upside down. So just thinking about, what does that mean? So our thought is, can you share a world's belief that is upside down compared to God's word?